We wanted to welcome you to our webinar today. This is the first webinar we've had in a few months. We're excited about today's webinar. Usually we do it on one item at a time, but with the current situation with the pandemic going on, we thought that we would spend a little bit of time going through our touchless exit devices. They're called, I'll call them touchless exit devices, but they don't just have to be used for exit devices. Our touchless access control devices used for exit, entrance, however you want to use them, but they're touchless, which is really important right now. We know a lot of you are getting requests for that right now with the pandemic that's going on. Then we're also going to spend the time on the Sync Procs, and that will be where we spend the majority of our time is on the Sync Procs, walking you through how the system works, how it wires up, and how the software works. Again, the goal is always to get you the most information in the least amount of time so that you can get back out there working. But we are super excited about the touchless devices, and even more excited about the Sync Procs, which so far, it's been released now for about a month and a half. We've had really good results. People really like it, and it's been extremely reliable, which is important for a new product. So today we're going to go over touchless devices and the Sync Procs. Again, we'll start with touchless exit devices, and then we'll move over to the Sync Procs. We have Alex, who's on the controls today. He will see all of your questions. You can type your questions. You do not, and I'm looking at him to make sure I'm getting this right, you do not need to create an account to ask a question, do you, Alex? No. So you can type in a question, Alex will see it, and then we have Preston here, who is our product manager for Sync Procs. It's hard for me to say this, but he might be a little smarter than me. Very hard for me to say that, because I am the smartest man in the room at all times. But I will give him some of my smarts. So he's the product manager of Sync Procs, and he's going to be able to, anybody who has software questions, he will answer. Hardware questions, I'll answer. Software questions, he will answer. So feel free to ask any questions throughout this. We'll stop. We'll get them answered for you. And like I always say, if we don't know, we will lie. Again, another joke. Okay, so let's jump over to the computer. We're going to look at the touchless devices that we have so you can see some of the options. Again, the reason that we wanted to show this is because with the current situation with the pandemic, we've been receiving a lot of phone calls for people who say, I need an exit device for these doors or this pool gate, whatever it may be, where it's basically free exit, where the traditional option is going to be a push to exit button that you can push on the way out, where they're saying people can't touch it because of the pandemic, okay? So here's what we have. Again, all of the information that we get is from our website, transmittersolutions.com. I'm going to click on our products. Touchscreen's not working, so I'll move back to the mouse. We're going to go to our products, and if you ever have questions on any of our products, all of our products are listed on our website, and the majority of them have manuals, wiring diagrams, all sorts of that good stuff. So if you ever get stuck in a situation where you need that, you can come to our website and quickly log on and take a look at all the stuff we have. Today we're going to go under ADA access. And again, we're not going to spend a lot of time on this because there's not really a lot to talk about, but we do want to make you aware of it. We have basically two options for touchless devices. We have all of them are touchless, but we also have a wireless touchless, which means from the actual device, which is the one we're looking at here, this wave to open, from here to the door, maglock, strike, whatever it may be, it's wireless using our receiver, which is our nano receiver, which is this right here. It's an extremely small receiver that we sell a lot of. It's been really reliable for many, many years. So if you're looking for an application where you don't have the ability to run wire from the actual exit device to the maglock, strike, whatever it may be, you can kit our wireless touch-free device. You simply wave your hand in front of this, and it sends a wireless signal, this is battery powered, to this receiver, which would then be wired into the maglock or the strike, whatever is triggering the door or gate that you are attempting to open. This white one here is actually, you have to touch it. That's why I'm not going to be talking about it very much, but the black one is touchless, and we actually have a couple new SKUs in this part that are a little bit more fancy looking, I guess you could say, and that was on the email that we sent out for this. It looks very similar, it's just kind of newer looking. But same exact application. Touch-free, so you wave your hand in front of it and it sends a wireless signal to the nano receiver. Then we also have our options for our more traditional devices, which are hardwired. So these devices, and this is probably our most popular one right here, are devices that you can put on the door, hardwire them to your maglock or strike, and then you wave your hand in front of them for exit. Okay, all three of these are the options. With our last option, some of our little higher end option, I would call them, is these. These are also wave to exit. One of them also offers a handheld remote, so someone from behind a desk could push the button to trigger the relay, or you can wave your hand in front of it. Both of these options are touchless, or there is a mechanical override, so if there was some reason it wasn't working, you could push it, so you could wave your hand in front of it, or push it, or use the remote. So these are all of our options for touchless exit devices. And then we also have our iGaze RDS, which is microwave and infrared sensor for doors, okay, automatic doors. So that would also be considered touchless. So when you are being asked about jobs where they don't want to have to touch the exit device, we have a lot of different options and a lot of different styles and a lot of different looks. So please give us a call, and the costs on these are extremely inexpensive. And again, for something that has to be there, a exit button, you don't want to spend a lot of money on it. We're going to give you a reliable device for low cost. Again, that's always what we strive for in all of our products that we release. So this, like I said, our most popular options are going to be this and then these two down here. Okay. Any questions on any of those so far? Okay. That was all that we wanted to cover on the touchless exit devices. Now we want to get to the Sync Procs. We did a webinar on the Sync Procs. What month was it, Alex? Probably maybe April. Maybe April. March or April. We had a really good turnout, but we wanted to talk about it again because this can also fall into the category of, well, let's use the term touchless access control, because all you have to use is your phone. Your phone. You don't have to touch a card that maybe was touched by other people or anything like that. All you have to use is your phone with our Sync Procs app, and then they can walk up to the door, push the button, and be let in. Now, the really cool thing, I'm going to jump back on camera here. I feel like you guys haven't seen my face in a long time, and I don't want to deprive you of that. The really nice thing about the Sync Procs, and the reason we are so excited about it, is because the Sync Procs is a product that will retrofit to any existing Wiegand access control system. Also coming soon is standalone access control. But let's focus right now on the retrofitting existing Wiegand access control systems. We have our board, and Alex, let's jump back to the computer. Sorry, I'm making Alex earn his money today. We have our Sync Procs board, which is a very, very small footprint. I'll get to it. Okay. I'll get to the manual here. Okay. So it's a really, really small board. You can see the dimensions right here, 1.4 inch by 1.2 inches. And from that board, it's heat shrinked, so you're not going to see all of the components sitting there. You have red, black, green, yellow, white, violet, brown, orange, and blue wires coming off the end of this board. So what this does is it gives you the ability, if you have a, let's say, think of any job site that you have, business, multifamily, whatever it may be. If they have a Wiegand access control system, and we do not care what Wiegand access control system it is, choose one. We don't care. We're not going to name names, okay? We don't care what it is. You can go to your customer and say, hey, I have a device that is inexpensive. I don't need to replace any hardware on your property. You'll keep your card readers, you'll keep your keypads, you'll keep your same access control system, so you don't have to learn a whole new access control system software, and it is really inexpensive, and I can give you, on top of the physical credentials you're already using, cards, fobs, PIN codes, whatever it may be, I can give you Bluetooth credentials. Okay, so I can now give you the ability to say to your tenants or your whoever it is, hey, do you want a Bluetooth credential as well with your fob, or do you just want a Bluetooth credential? It's up to you. You say yeah, then through our web portal, we'll show you how to. You can give a Bluetooth credential, and nothing on your end changes. Or nothing on your customer's end changes, I guess I should say. They are still adding users through whatever access control software they were using before, and tracking and managing them, granting access rights. All of that is done in the exact same access control software they were using before, and nothing on their property has to change. All you're doing is adding this module into the existing wiring. So let's say you have a main entrance. They want to add this Bluetooth module, which again is called Sync Procs. You'll take this little board, and when you call us for the price, you'll be blown away at how inexpensive it is. And you're going to use 4 wires. We have a lot of different colors. You don't need to worry about most of them for the Wiegand application. You're going to use 4 wires. Red for power, black for ground, green for data 0, and white for data 1. And you're going to line those right up with the existing wires that your card reader is going to, down to your access control panel. And now someone walks up, they open their phone, Sync Procs app, they see the door there, and I'll show you how all this works here in just a minute. They push the button, and what happens is our device is sending down a facility code and a serial number. You can't ignore the facility code if you don't want a facility code. And is sending that down to their access control system and saying, oh, Quinn, it's just like they scan a card. Their access control system doesn't know any different. If they've been added into the access control, it sees the facility code, serial number, make sure it's attached to a person, make sure allowed in there, they're in at those hours, and boom, they're in the door. And you've given a property or a job site the ability to use Bluetooth credentials for pennies. It is very, very, very inexpensive. The biggest thing that we hear about all this new technology is it's very expensive to change out. Well, let me rephrase that. In order to give people Bluetooth technology or mobile credentials, whichever form the company is going to do it, you usually have to change out expensive hardware. You're either changing out the whole access control panel, which is very, very expensive, and trying to learn something new can be tough. Or you're changing out the card readers, which in most instances, there's nothing wrong with the card readers that are there. So you're having to upsell them new card readers that are not very inexpensive. So you're saying, yeah, I can get them to you, but I have to change out every single card reader you want Bluetooth on. Not with ours. Ours is a simple add-on. It looks like we have a question. Alex, go ahead.
Does card format matter? Can you give me any card format?
Really good question. I'm going to let Preston answer that.
So we can produce any card format that you need, whether it's 26-bit, 37-bit, or any other. We're completely customizable in that way. So in some regards, you could say, hey, I want all my physical keys. They're all in 26-bit, but I also want to add 37-bit to distinguish, to say, hey, these are my mobile cards. We could do that too. So it really doesn't matter which card format you need or are using.
Okay, thanks, Preston. Perfect. So, and we'll show you that, what Preston just explained. We will show that to you in the software here in just a minute. But just to recap, you can basically do any card format that you need. We do not lock you into 26-bit. We know from the beginning, we know that there are a lot of different card formats people use. There's high security, low security, and everything in between. And so we want you to be able to customize that, and we make it pretty dang simple. So we'll show you how that works here in just a minute. Good question. Was that the only question we had so far? Okay. So let's keep going. So again, the thing that gets me most excited is if I was an installer, I would go to every single one of my customers and say, hey, let me add this device to your building. You're going to love it. Even if you don't use it immediately, it's such a small cost that basically you're future-proofing all of your sites by adding this device on. And the competitors coming in behind you and saying, oh, no, I can get you mobile credentials, but I'm going to have to rip out every single one of those readers and put in a $400 reader. That's a problem. A lot of people aren't going to go for that. Or, yeah, I can get you mobile credentials, but I'm going to have to rip out your main access control panels and get you new access control panels. Not ours. So you go in, you say, yep, Bluetooth credentials, no problem. Nope, nothing on your site is going to change physically. You're not going to have a new access control panel. You're not going to have a new card reader. I'm just going to put this device in behind it, and you'll be good to go. Okay? So it's awesome. It is awesome. And it works really, really, really well. Extremely reliable. I will tell you that the Bluetooth question. Oh, Alex wants me to go on camera. Thanks, Al. So the Bluetooth range for this device, this door actually has Sync Procs installed on it. So we have, this is just a standard Wiegand card reader and keypad. We have an electric strike mounted here, and we have Sync Procs buried in here. This is an aluminum frame. You probably can't see it. Behind this wood frame is an aluminum frame, which is where we have the Sync Procs device. We are getting, best case scenario, you're going to get, and Preston, if I'm lying, please tell me, about 100 feet, best case scenario. Okay?
No obstruction. Probably.
Yeah, no obstruction, about 100 feet. With most installations, it's going to be installed in an aluminum door frame, a metal door frame, above a drop ceiling. You're probably going to get more 25 to 35 feet, roughly. And that can be turned up and down. We'll show you that too. You have full customization to be able to turn it to full power, middle, 75%, 25%, whatever you want. So if you have a bank of these doors, a bank of doors at a business, you probably want to turn down the power because you don't want every single door showing up when someone's standing by the lunchroom, let's say. Okay? And we have that ability, and we'll show you that here in just a minute. So, any questions so far on the application for this? Okay, let's jump into the software. The software is extremely user-friendly. Here's how you have to picture this, because if you try to think too deeply, we're all going to get headaches, and it's Friday, and we don't want to do that. Our software is not replacing the existing access control on the site. Okay, like I said, when you install our device at the property, their access control platform stays the same. If they have DoorKing, it stays DoorKing, okay? If they have HID, I don't care what it stays the same. All ours does is used for administering the virtual credentials. That's it, okay? That is it. Looks like we have a question.
A lot of these other competitor apps seem to kill battery life. Is Sync the same?
Good question. Preston, I'll let you answer that because Preston and me argue about this all the time.
So the answer is no, it doesn't, and there's a couple reasons for that. One, the impact our app has on your mobile phone is really low. We've designed it well to keep it that way. The other is we are not constantly scanning for Bluetooth devices. So that's a problem you see in other applications. They're constantly looking for all the different Bluetooth devices around them, and that scanning is what often causes battery life issues. And so ours doesn't do that. When you open the app, it'll scan, and then it'll scan for 5 seconds, and then you can request to scan again. And that's the primary reason behind that.
Okay, good answer. So really, really good question, because if you read, Preston tells me to do this all the time, and I listen to him sometimes. If you go in and you read the reviews for our competitors on the iTunes Store, or what's Google's called, the Play Store, Android's Play Store, you can see that that is one of the very top things that a lot of these companies deal with, is a lot of reviews of people saying it kills my battery life. So when we were building this, our engineers and developers were very specific in making sure that we built an app that did not kill battery life. You don't even know, you don't even know. It does nothing to your battery life, really. Because what Preston said is it scans for 5 seconds when you open it. So you have to think about, like, if you are searching for your AirPods on your phone and you click scan, it's out there and finding everything. It will scan as long as you want. You can keep pressing scan, and that's what kills your battery. Ours doesn't do that. You open the app, it scans for the door closest to you. It scans for the doors within Bluetooth range, I should say, which again you can set through our app. It finds the one, you open it, and you're good. So really good question. Hopefully that answered it. If not, please let us know. Okay, so again, here's how I want you to think about this. Our software, all you're doing with it is creating a facility code. You're creating a virtual card, facility code and serial number, whatever format you want. You're giving that to a user via email, and you are, that's basically it. That's how I want you to think about it. I want to dumb it down because I don't want you to get too confused thinking that your customers need to learn a completely new software. They're not going to spend a lot of time in our software. That's the goal. The goal is to create the card, give it to the user through email, which they'd get on their phone or their email address, and then they add them to their access control. The end goal is their access control says yes or no when they push the phone. Is facility code 77 card number 1000 allowed into this door? Yes, because Quinn Coford has been added to their existing whatever Door King access control at that door 24/7. He's allowed in. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. So let's jump over to the software. Okay. So I said I wanted to dumb down the software, and hopefully I did, but I also want to get across the point that the software is an extremely powerful tool. You can do a lot with it, and it's super customizable, simple, and it's easy. It's easy to use, but it's a powerful tool. So I'm going to make this as easy as possible, and if you have any detailed questions, please ask, and we'll answer them, and we can go over it, but I don't want to spend 20 minutes just on the software because, once you see what you do, it's very easy. So what happens is I'll walk through the process of when you as an installer orders a sync Procs from us. You call into your sales rep, and you order, we'll just make it easy, 1 million sync Procs, because that's the minimum order. That was a joke, by the way. You order 1 sync Procs, okay, from your sales rep. What will happen is, and I'm just going to tell you this process because this is what will happen when this is the same process that will happen when you sell one to your end user. We go into our portal and we create your company. Okay, we give you a company ID, which don't stress too much about this company ID. It really doesn't mean very much. We create the max offline hours, which you can customize as well. Preston, I'm going to have Preston explain to you what max offline hours is real quick.
So max offline hours gives you the ability to give users a grace period where if they did not have internet connectivity, the app would continue to work. So I'll give you a scenario. Quinn, he logs in on the Sync app and he uses his device, and then for whatever reason he needs to go on airplane mode, or he goes to a place where he doesn't have internet access, Wi-Fi or data. For that 12 hours or whatever is set, he could continue to use his card. But at some point, whatever that hours is set, 12, 24, 10, whatever you want, the app is going to require that it phone home to the server to say, hey, am I still a valid user? So this would prevent an end user from getting a card from you, turning their phone on airplane mode for the rest of time, and just continue to use that card. So it's just a safeguard to force users to validate that they're still okay in the system.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Preston. So one thing to keep in mind, the reason we did this is for security reasons. We don't want people to ever be able to spoof the system, so we've added that. But we also then get asked the question a lot of, okay, well, let's say Quinn, I give Quinn a card, and Quinn's job is in a coal mine where he doesn't have any service on his phone. When he comes home that day from work, is he not going to be allowed back into his apartment? No. The answer is yes, I still will be allowed into my apartment if I haven't maxed out that grace period. So if it stayed 12 hours and I've gone 8 hours with no phone service, I can still use my card. If I've gone 13 hours without phone, it won't work because it's telling me I have to check in. And up until the second my phone checks in with our servers. As soon as it checks in with the servers, it repairs itself. So this is a security protocol. Most people in the world never go 12 hours or even 3 hours without service on their phone. But it's there just in case you have those times where you're worried about it and you want to put those security measures in. Okay. Card block style, we offer 2 types of pricing for our virtual cards. We offer what we call single use and then what we call perpetual. And again, this is all set up. This can be totally customized for the company that's using it. Single use, the term we use as sales reps, which you'll probably hear us use, is one and done. What that means is if I give Quinn Coford, who's a tenant at ABC Apartments, we'll just create that right now while we're talking about it. Hold on, I'll do address here. Whoop. Okay. Okay. So if I give Quinn a card who lives at ABC Apartments and it's a single-use card, that means that once Quinn moves or whatever, has a significant life event where he no longer needs to use that card on that property, that card is gone, okay? And a new tenant moves into Quinn's apartment, they have to purchase a new credential. That's the single use. Now, one of the big competitive advantages to our product versus our competitors is that the single-use card, if Quinn loses his phone, breaks his phone, gets a new phone, for whatever reason gets a new phone, he does not need to buy a new card. His card can be reset by the administrator on the property and then added to his new phone. Again, this is a big security feature. If Quinn says, hey, I got a new phone, goes to the administrator, hey, I got a new phone, I want you to transfer my card over to my new phone. Quinn cannot just go into his new phone and add it, and boom, it'll automatically pop up, and then he can have a card on both phones. If it's loaded on one phone, it has to be reset by the admin. Once it's reset by the admin, then Quinn can use that same card on his new device, iPad, phone, whatever it may be. So you don't have to buy a new credential every time someone gets a new phone, which is a big time advantage compared to our competitors. Most competitors make you buy a new credential if you lose a phone, okay? That's single-use mode. When that person leaves, you have to buy a new card for the next tenant. Perpetual means if you buy a block of 100 cards, Quinn gets given a card. Quinn leaves the property. Okay, we're going with the same scenario here. You retrieve that card back and it goes back into your block of cards to be used again. You don't have to buy a new one. Okay? The reason we offer both is because there's some places with tons of turnover, they're going to want to do the perpetual. The perpetual has an annual fee because the cards never go away. The one and done does not have an annual fee, but you have to purchase new cards when that person leaves. Okay? If there's any questions on that, let me know. Hopefully I explained it okay. Okay, so I've created a company which we're going to call ABC Apartments, and you can look here in the details. Right now there are no cards. This property owns no cards right now. So you would say, okay, Quinn, ABC Apartments, I need 10 cards for them. Okay? So we come into our system.
Quinn, your login is me, so I would add those cards now for you.
Oh, okay. We're going to add them, but here's what you would do. You're adding them right now?
Yeah, I'll add them for you.
Preston's adding the cards because I'm logged in. I'm logged in as a user, which can't add cards. I should be logged in as a dealer, but I'm not. Okay? So Preston's going to add them. We'll see them pop up here in just a minute. But basically, there's an add block right here, which we would do. Again, you guys won't do this right now. We will do it for you. And in the add block, we can set you can tell us, hey, Quinn, we need 37-bit, we need 26-bit, we need 32-bit, whatever it may be, and we can make it that and add that block for you. So we'll wait for Preston to add those. Okay? And this is exactly what you'll see as the dealer. Okay? So now you can see I have, on June 26, 2020, we have Preston added 37-bit cards, a quantity of 5, and we have 5 remaining to use. And you can actually see the detail. This is where we go in and determine what bit format those cards are, right here. This is where Preston went in and did that. So you can see the detail of those cards. It's pretty detailed. Don't get too hung up on this, because if you're used to 26-bit like I am, don't worry about this, but we can do anything. Looks like we have another question.
Can the device be a tablet or does it have to be a phone?
Good question. It can be a tablet as well. Any connected device. It can be a tablet, phone, whatever you want.
iOS or Android.
iOS or Android. iOS, Android, tablet, or phone. Okay? Okay, so now ABC Apartments has 5 virtual credentials. They are 37-bit credentials, and it looks like he started at number 5,000. Okay? And actually we can look. He did facility code 255, starting number 5,000. Okay, and like I said, you can tell us everything you need on that card. Starting number, facility code, bit format, all of that stuff. And we can add it to make it so we're not just locked into 26-bit. Okay? Now, I am going to create, well, I'll just show you mine. Now what happens here is you can create the users. This is where you're going to assign out if you have the administrator who's going to want access to this web portal, or if you're just going to have a user who just has a virtual credential. This is where you're going to do all this. And keep in mind that you as the installer, you will see every single one of your sites and all of the users connected to each of those sites. You have a full display of everything going on. Your company or your end user only sees their company and their users that are assigned to their company with their virtual credentials. Okay? So I'm going to click on Quinn. And all you do when you add a new user, first name, last name, status is active, so you can deactivate them if you want to. Again, what's really making the call is the access control panel on the property. Whatever it is Quinn's card 1000 allowed in? Yes, it is. You can see I have all my permissions. That's because we checked these boxes. This user manages access to their company. What this means is when you click this box and click Save Changes, they are getting an email to qcoford@transmittersolutions.com that says, hey, Quinn, you've been invited to create a Sync Procs web portal to manage access. Follow the steps. They create it, and now they have this web portal, and they will only see their company, and any companies they create, okay, or users they create. This manager can reset cards. Here's the reset button. Again, I explained this. What this means is they have the one and done cards, or the, what's the other, I can't remember the other word we use for it. Not perpetual, single use. Thanks. Good thing I have two other guys in here to help me with this. And Quinn lost his phone, comes into the admin, they press reset. Now Quinn's new phone or tablet can have the card on it. Again, all of these things are small details, not to get too hung up on. Just know that it does everything, okay? It's very secure, and if you can think it up, it probably somehow doesn't. And if it doesn't, then I'm sorry, but I don't know what else to tell you. It's really cool. So this manager can reset access cards. You're going to give that to like the apartment manager, the business owner, anybody who you want to be able to reset the cards for the users who live there, work there, whatever it may be. And then this user is a technician. What this means is you're going to click this box for your installers, right? Your guys that are going out installing the Sync Procs. This gives them a tool on the app where they can set the distance. I'll show all of this to you. Test the device, set up the device, set the name of the device. So you want to check this for all of your technicians. So they have, when they get the app, they can click on a little icon, which the end user does not see. None of the just card holders will ever see this. Only the people that you mark this box for, and then they can edit the Sync Procs device at the door, and I'll show that to you. Now we've created a user, and we can click Assign New Card. Once we click Assign New Card, and I'm not going to do it because Quinn already has a card, they are getting an email at this email address. Hey, Quinn, you've been given a card by Sync Procs. Please download the app, type in this code, and it gives you all the instructions you need to follow. Now that person is a Sync Procs user. Now, this is where we go back to your access control. Rather than the traditional, hey, Mr. Apartment Manager, here's your 100 fobs. Oh, and here's the number of the fob. They can see the number on the fobs, facility code 077, serial number starting at 1000. All you have to do now is send him an email. Hey, Mr. Apartment Manager, we just assigned all of your credentials. Go ahead and look in your account. Here's the numbers that we gave you. Facility code 255, serial number 1000. They still need to add those into their existing access control because the existing access control is what's granting access. It's just like they're scanning a card at the card reader, but instead they're pressing a button on their phone, but it's still passing through facility code and serial number. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay. So that's what we've done. So the apartment complex, business, end user, whatever it is, they're going to add all of their users in here and assign them cards. Okay? You as the technician, or you as the business owner, the installing dealer, are going to set up your companies and set up your technicians so they can all have the technician app tool on there to be able to manage and control the device while they're on the site. Okay? Again, it's very simple. Again, all you have to wrap your mind around is this is where your customers assign virtual credentials to their tenants. Once it's done, that's it. That's all they do in here, and then it's just like you handed them 100 fobs, but there's nothing physical that's exchanging hands at this point. Okay? Okay. So now, I've got the app here. I'll open the app called, and you can download it now on Android or iOS. It's called Sync Procs, SYNQ PROX. And you can see, this is the main screen you'll get, and I wish we could show this to you a better way. But you have icons when you first log in. I have one called Fence Tech and one called Transmitter Solutions. This would basically be saying Quinn has Sync Procs access. Quinn has a Sync Procs credential at numerous properties. So let's say Fence Tech is the apartment complex I live at, and Transmitter Solutions is the business that I work at. And they both happen to have Sync Procs. That's the only reason you would have more than one of these. Most people are just going to have one of these, which would be ABC Apartments, okay? So I click on Transmitter Solutions, and now I'm showing the doors that I have access to, or excuse me, not the doors I have access to, the doors that are closest to me right now, okay? So I can see test door and a door called DIRD test, and I can actually see in the bottom right-hand corner the strength of the Bluetooth signal from that door, okay? You can see my card number down here is 1000 and the door name is right there. So if I push this, that door just unlocked. You probably couldn't hear it, but that door just unlocked. Okay. And it worked that simple. And what went to the access control system is this. If we can show the software one more time, Alex. We're using PAL access control on this door. You can see that demo test, which is the name of my card, Wiegand 77 card 1000 was authorized at the Fence Tech door on this date and time. And again, PAL, what we're showing here for PAL is it could be any Wiegand access control system on the property. We just happen to have our Sync Procs wired into the PAL, which is managing this door. Okay? So it looks like, and I'll do it again so you can see it again. It looks like there was just a card scanned here, but your user was using their Sync Procs app, and the installation was quick and easy, okay? So that's what the end user sees. You also then have this icon here. This is what, when we click the button that says this person is a technician, this is what they see, okay? So you can set the name of the door. I'm not going to set it because I already have it named. You can set the power level of the door. That's how far you want the Bluetooth to be able to read. You can set a dealer code. The dealer code is going to make it, and I might be wrong, it's either a site code or dealer code. Preston will correct me here in just a minute. Where basically if another company comes in and tries to mess with the setup that you have on this door, they cannot get in because they have to have the dealer code for that device in order to edit it. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So you can lock these devices down so another company can't come in behind you and just change everything that you've done. Okay? Set a site code. This is actually kind of cool, and I'm going to try to explain it. Hopefully I don't confuse you. So the example that I had on this phone where I show Transmitter Solutions as my place of work and Fence Tech is where I live. We know right now with current Wiegand systems, I'm going to stand back in front of the camera. With current Wiegand systems, there's only 65,000 some odd Wiegand numbers out there, okay? So with current Wiegand systems, if I have a card, a physical card, with number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that same card could work at my place of work and at my apartment if somehow, some way, two people have the same number, which is very, very likely. What the facility site code does is make it so that if my Sync Procs is facility code 77, serial number 1000 at Transmitter Solutions, place of work, and they happen to have Sync Procs at Fence Tech as well, and some other user at Fence Tech has facility code 77, serial number 1000, even though my phone has the exact same facility code and serial number, it will not let me in that door that has a different site code set, okay, which is actually just another high security thing. A lot of people probably won't use it, but it is a nice feature to have so that you never have to worry about duplicated cards, okay? Do you want to add anything to that, Preston?
You got it good enough.
Preston says I got it good enough. Whew. Okay, good. Okay, so that's the site code. Strike mode settings, you don't really need to worry about. That's for standalone mode, which we're not going to talk about today. And then you can also do a bunch of stuff with the pin codes. You'll see here one really cool thing about our app is in the top right-hand corner, if you click this button, we have a built-in keypad in our app, which is going to send through to the access control system, just like if you typed in a pin code on the door. And my door actually just unlocked again, okay? So you can do pin code and card, pin code or card. You can do all of those things, okay, which is really, really cool. Talking about Touchless again, if they have pin pads, you can say, hey, I've got a pin pad for you, but it's right here on your phone, which is a super cool feature. You want to add something to that? Preston wants to add something to that real quick.
One thing to clarify is that when you send a PIN from the app, it will send your Wiegand card as well. It's sending both every time, and you can specify, you can set in the hardware, you can say, hey, I want it to send my PIN first, or I want it to send the card first, then the PIN. So when you send a PIN, it's sending your card as well, just so that you're aware.
Okay, thank you, Preston. Okay, so that's a lot of information to go through, and I did it pretty fast. 42 minutes, wow. I'm really good at this. So, again, I think my head's being cut off by the camera here. A little too tall. So just to recap, excuse me, we have all of our touchless devices, inexpensive, really good options, especially with everything going on right now. The Sync Procs will be the most inexpensive Bluetooth module you'll probably ever run across, and it works really well, and you can see from the 20 minutes we've spent here how, I mean, I'm sure your minds are racing with all of the sites that you're like, I need to call these people. Again, the goal is, even if they're not going to use it now, you can future-proof them with the hardware that they already have. They do not need to spend thousands of dollars to get phone-based mobile credentials for their access control system. And that's the goal that we were shooting for. It's easy to use, it's reliable, extremely cost-effective, and it's an easy sell for you as an installer. Super easy sell for you as an installer. So, what questions do we have? Hopefully this was good. I feel like we covered a lot of information. So we're going to stick around here for a bit. Please let me know any questions that you have, and we'll stick around and answer them. Thanks, guys.